are the features that are coming to the devices that near to you, things that are coming to your devices through software update even before Apple announcing them. iOS was superior to the Android, and Android is now copying Apple. Apple will officially rename their operating systems. I believe Apple will implement more health related stuff which will be centralized on Apple Health app. WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference, which is Apple's yearly developer conference that it will showcase their new operating systems across all the platforms, including iOS, macOS, even Vision OS and tvOS and every OSs that they do to their hardware throughout the year. So in this episode, we will actually not explain, actually we will do some predictions regarding what are the features that are coming to the devices that near to you and what are the capabilities that it will enable for the next year. And the point is the actual WWDC event with Apple's official keynote is due on next Monday as we record this episode on June 6th. So it's really fun. We do this every year. So we can showcase or we can let you guys know the things that are coming to your devices through software update even before Apple announcing them with the information that we collected from the internet with more and more reliable resources. So yes, this episode will be really interesting if you're an Apple fanboy or a developer in that case, or in general a techie person in general, because most of the time these features will be copied by the Android people also. So yes, I'm Udara, your host.
I'm Kanishka.
So Ayubowan to our new episode of Aprender podcast.
People are going to copy Apple's ideas. That conversation probably going to start some kind of war between Apple and iOS.
Yes, that boy is like one of the oldest ones, right?
Yeah,
Back in the day, in my opinion, Majang, iOS was superior to the Android. They still complain regarding some features that an iOS had, and iOS users complain regarding the capabilities of the features that Android has. So actually, end of the day, it's a win-win situation because nowadays, after like fast forwarding to 2025, what they do is Apple is now copying Android, and Android is now copying Apple. So it doesn't matter what device you are using. Basically, everything are same now. it's it's a win situation for the end customers actually. So WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference, right? So its 2025 version is coming up on June 10th. No, actually it's June 9th. So it will be a live streaming event. So Apple will like broadcast this event in their YouTube channel and official website and even developer apps and even Apple TV app also. So the thing is, in this event, they will like dedicate that event to showcase new features are coming to each and every OS that they do or that they create. Starting from iOS, then moving to iPad OS, Mac OS, TV OS, watchOS, and now newly added one Vision OS, and even for their own headsets like AirPods and AirPods Max, they will showcase new and upcoming features that will be available for the Apple users in the Apple ecosystem. And I noticed in the more recent years, they even showcase new features that are coming to Windows users who use who use iPhones, and even for the users that use Android devices with their MacBooks also. Actually, the key point is they need to attract new users to use their products, their own product. But they do like consider regarding those small group of people because otherwise they will get like a lawsuit regarding monopoly or being a tech giant that doesn't cooperate, right?
yeah. Like when you say new features coming to the Windows, like is it for that application where Windows Phone application where we can?
It's a good question, Ba. So Apple used to do like their own products or softwares and tools to their own hardware, right? So for example, they still do Xcode, their IDE for their Macs only, MacBooks and iMacs and everything. So even Final Cut Pro also, it's only available for macOS and iOS. But I have noticed, Majang, in the last 2 to 3 years, they are more of like Apple started as a hardware company, which what they did really good was doing their own software and hardware, which like elevated themselves with a better performing devices rather than competitive ones. So in that case, they are now shifting to like a more services company. So they are now doing like iCloud Plus, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, even Apple News, and health. What not health actually? It's Fitness Plus. There are some subscribe-based services that they offer to users that they can generate some money in a monthly manner, right? Or even a yearly manner based on subscriptions. So in that case, Majang, I have noticed like let for example, let's take Apple Music. The main competitor is Spotify, right? Spotify is available everywhere, every single where, like even in smart TVs, Androids, iOS, Windows devices, and everywhere. So I saw that they last year they announced their official arrival of Apple Music app to Windows. So that was like a major thing that they announced. So with that announcement, they also announced that Apple TV app was also coming to Windows, and they announced that they are depreciating their legacy iTunes application and replaced it with like device manager or something. I think this year they will officially announce the first prediction I'm gonna give for Windows users. This year they might announce Apple Podcast app for Windows. I believe that they will do that. Yes, Majan, this is a win-win situation. So if you're paying for a certain subscription, it should be available on everywhere, right? So this is better. This is good. Yeah, Macha.
I thought they already had Apple Music for Windows application. This is not the native application, right? This is the this is the native application.
No,
Previously, they don't offer any kind of like native applications for Windows, right? To Apple Music.
no, the platforms that available was native app was there for macOS, iOS, and watchOS, but it was available as a web application for Windows and every other platform. Like it's as I remember, it's music.apple.com.
Hmm.
If you type that URL in, you can log into your Apple Music account and listen to some music. But last year in WWDC 2024, they announced an official or native app for Windows, which is which is ground up built on Windows based software using VS Code and everything. So it was really optimized for Windows. And the funny part is that app was nominated for one of the best design apps for Windows. Imagine that.
Apple are designing.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I'm using it. It's really good. It's really, really good, that app. They are continuously updating the app, and the experience was really good when it comes to Windows and Apple Music. So let's focus. Let's focus. Let's get back into the today's episode. So WWDC 25. So let's start with iOS, right, Maja?
Yeah.
Before that, there is a new thing that I think I found that they will announce in this year. Let's take the current state of Apple OS. I'm taking this or explaining this off of my head. So iOS is now at iOS 18, right?
Yeah.
macOS is at macOS 15. So I believe watchOS is at 8 or 7. I'm not sure the number. I'm sure Vision OS is on version 2. Home OS, not Home OS, Apple TV or tvOS is at 18. So you see the problem, Macha. So it's really hard to keep track of their OS numbers, right? So first thing, they're gonna fix this. As per the rumors from the Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, I will recite the resources or sources that we are using for these predictions. So this will not be like a clickbait episode. We are like doing this episode with actual research of our own. As per the Mark Gurman, Apple will officially rename their operating systems throughout all the operating systems based on the year it is releasing. So in this case, iOS will be jumping from 18 to 26.
Okay.
So you might wondering, Apple is announcing iOS 26 in year 25, right? So it should be iOS 25, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they are following the naming scheme of, I believe, or auto vehicle makers. Like, let's say Apple is announcing their operating system on the second quarter of 2025. They are targeting it to release on the fourth quarter. So, which will be calculated into the next year when it goes to the financial year, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, they are renaming iOS to from 18 to 26, macOS from 15 to 26. So from this year onwards, Apple will follow operating system name schemes based on the year it will be releasing. So in this case, the next year it will be iOS 27. So that way it's really users will have or consumers will have a better idea regarding the OS numbers. So let's say if I'm quickly asking regarding from Kanishka, Macam, what is the iOS you are running? I believe it's 18 or I'm not sure. Like it's really hard to keep up with those, right? If you are like a really good Apple fanboy and you are using all their products and you are in their ecosystem, you have like various OSs to follow up, right? It's really hard. So this way it will be really easy to follow up. Based on that, Majang, I will do another prediction. I believe Apple will rename the iPhone line also.
iPhone name.
Yes. So imagine like now we are having iPhone 16, right?
Yeah.
So this year it should be iPhone 17, right? Imagine they are renaming iPhone with like base models like iPhone, iPhone Plus, even iPhone Air. That rumor in the a lot of leaks that a pretty slim iPhone. I'm not sure who is asking for a slim iPhone with worst life battery lives. I'm not sure about that, guys. But there will be iPhone Pro and Pro Max, right? So I believe Apple will rename those to like iPhone 26, iPhone Plus 26, so and so. So that way iOS and iPhone names are matching. The same way I think they do that in the Mac ecosystem before they announced their M series, right? They are now basically naming their MacBooks based on the M chip that inside it, right? I think this way it will clarify to customers and everyone regarding the version model or version or the model that they are having. The same thing that I think vehicle makers are following. So that is like the first, what you call, rumor or a leak that we are predicting that they will rebrand iOS and every their operating system names, right? So let's move to iOS, right?
Yeah.
So
Like they Apple usually they have like a pattern when it comes to making major changes into their like iPhone design, right? Hopefully, is this year going to be a major design change in iPhone? Do you believe?
yes, I think Apple had like 2 year circle. Like they used to use same iPhone design on their iPhones for 2 consecutive years. So that way they don't have to do any R&Ds on the design itself. So they can focus on optimizing the device. If you remember, Majang, back in the day there were like S series devices, right? For example, iPhone 4, the later one was iPhone 4S. The same design, same thing, but performance was improved. So then Apple moved to like 3 year cycle. I believe it started with iPhone 11. They had like the same design with 11, 12, and 13. For 14, they went on with Dynamic Island. So for 14, 15, and 16, they had the same design. I believe 17 will have a change. I'm not sure that will make a much difference in sense of like the physical device. I think they are like at a level of Porsche 911, right? The design is good. They have to keep optimizing it, right? Yeah. So this event will be focusing on the software. So another thing that I want to highlight in this, Maja, if you like take a screenshot on the settings menu, let's take the settings menu of your iPhone, your MacBook, or the macOS, watchOS, and the Vision OS. They all looks different, which is not something Apple follows, right? They highly rely on making a better experience, which is a really seamless one. For example, they have like the same icons for a certain app, so that way user don't feel that they're using a separate app. They know or they get the idea that they're using the same app. But at the current state, Majang, Vision OS is like next level on user experience and the UIs. It's like having glass effect user interfaces, which is practical for the concept of the Vision Pro, right? It should be like transparent, more glass-like user interface. The rumor suggests, Machang, iPhone or the iOS 26, I will be referring iOS 19 as iOS 26, will having a major redesign in the user interface, which will basically follow the guidelines that Apple created for Vision OS. So that way all the operating systems will look same. So users will not get conflict. So that way, Apple will have a more seamless operating system. So that will improve like user experience when it comes to the end user, right? So that will be like the major thing that they will announce in the WWDC. So I'm not a UI UX engineer, but I believe if you're doing like a really ground up redesign, that will include some really useful things to developers that they need to implement in their own application, right? So this will be a major thing in WWDC because it's basically event is basically for the developers, right? So I believe that will be a major thing, major facelift or a redesign throughout the operating system or the user interfaces. For the rumors, based on the rumors, they will like introduce new gestures and some menus for their interfaces, which will be a good thing. As I remember, the last time they did something like this back in iOS 7, I remember. They went like from the actual kind of looking icons to really flat icons with iOS 7, right? So when it comes to iOS 18, it was like a small change that peaked up to a major redesign in this year's iOS, macOS, and every OSs that Apple do. I believe that they will implement that also.
If they are going for like a major redesign, probably we might have to like change our devices as well, right? For the latest ones. I'm not sure whether it is going to be like properly optimized for our old versions of iPhone.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. They usually do that, right? They when it comes to they releasing a new iPhone or new device, if you're having the last year device and if you're getting like a hands-on experience with the new device, instantly you will realize that the new device is superior, right? Having a better camera, it's smooth and it's fast. I don't know how they do that, but they actually do that, which will feel to the customer that they need or they create that urge to customers to buy the new device that they are selling. So good point that Kanishka made with new operating systems, we needing new resources to perform well. For sure, users will be needing to update to latest operating system so that the users will like they can basically convert their current users to buy the new devices with the redesigned user interface and everything, which will like basically a marketing push, right? So yeah, other than user interfaces and the naming change, I believe like doing like whole operating system redesign is a really hard thing. But the thing is, I don't believe that iPhone need a redesign because current state of tech is on AI, right? And when it comes to AI, Apple is the last person standing.
Yeah.
They are really late to the game. They announced like certain new things with Apple Intelligence last year and they failed to deliver those, which had their company reputation at a really low level. The thing is, I believe Apple is still not ready with AI, and I think they are taking a really smart move with this year's WWDC, and they will not add new features or new things to Apple Intelligence or the Siri. I think they will made it up with a like full OS revamp, so users will like, okay, this OS is getting a revamp, so they don't have time to do the AI stuff, so it's okay, kind of thing.
Do,
Yeah, they are.
do you
Yeah,
remember the last time when we did the WWDC predictions? We had like so much of hope regarding their integration with Apple City and everything, as we predicted so many things, and none of them came out like.
really flat, right? They didn't even release certain features. They even basically canceled certain features like the brand new Siri is still dumb. I don't even use Apple Intelligence on my devices. Sure, they release some really good features, but for me, those are not like at a level that they showcased or they were demoed in WWDC last year, which is a bummer. So I have like really low hope for Apple Intelligence this year. But I believe for as based on the rumors, they will like do a thing like if you are using an Android phone, you might notice that when you plugged it into a charger, in the right top end of the charging port, you will see an indicator saying that how much time it needs to get your battery from 0 to 100, right? For Samsung phones, it shows that okay, you have left like 45 minutes to get to 100% of the battery. So I believe Apple will implement this and they will implement this with a marketing geek or marketing jab. Like battery intelligence or something. It will like do like really complicated calculations and predict the battery level and the time it takes to make it to 100%. I believe Apple will release a feature like that, and it will be included in the Apple Intelligence package for sure. Yeah, they actually it will be a really good feature. If I'm having that feature, I'll be really using it because there were so many times, or there are so many occasions that I needed to know how much it will take to get my phone from 0 to 80. It will be really helpful. It will be really practical solution if they ever do this. If they are implementing that feature, it will be available for macOS and iPadOS and every OS, because that's the plus point of Apple, right? If they are implementing a certain feature, they will make sure it is available on all the platforms, right? That's really good. That's really what you call a plus point if you're an Apple user or an ecosystem guy. So other than that, iOS, I don't believe, since they are already making a really big revamp on the user experiences and the user interfaces, I don't believe that they need new features. But I found out in the iOS and iPadOS, which both have like the same kind of things when it comes to UI and everything. I believe there are features that rumors like Apple Home app, like their own IoT hub app, will be getting new designs and new features of new category of devices, like what you call vacuum cleaning bots. I don't know the exact name that they use, like those bots, this thing that they vroom and clean the home. I'm not sure the name of that. I think they will officially allow those to be on Apple Home app, and it rumors that they are releasing their own gaming app, right? Currently they do have a subscription that which allows you to play games unlimitedly without any ad, called Apple Arcade, which is available inside the App Store,
Yeah.
right? So as a Apple what do you call iCloud subscriber, I don't even go to that app.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I think this year they will release like a new app dedicated for gaming called Apple Games. So I don't know the name, but it rumors suggest Macha they are developing a own app so users can get a subscription and play games as much as they want without any ad or any microtransactions inside that app. So that will be a good option, and that will be a really competitor when it comes to like services like Epic Games, Epic Store or Xbox Store, which are already available in the Apple ecosystem or app stores, and even the Play Store when it goes to Android and everything. uh, I'm not sure whether I'll be using that, but it's a nice to have thing, I believe. Yeah, so other than that, I'm pretty sure, Machan, Siri will be dumb this year also.
Yeah. Obviously.
I saw that they actually made some. I saw a research paper they published. They really made some breakthroughs when it comes to AI use and large language models. For example, they used a 3 billion parameter large language model for Apple Intelligence back in iOS 18, which is okay kind of one, but they used 3 billion because they wanted to use like the hardware optimization they had. They wanted like to run those models inside the device, so that way those models will be faster. But the thing is, I saw like they have developed their own large language models with 3 billion parameters, 5 billion parameters, 7 billion, 20 billion, and up to 150 billion parameters.
Mm.
So I think they will have a really good comeback with AI, but I'm sure it's not this year. I think at least it will take another year to be user ready, because if you are, since they failed for the first time, if you are coming back, they had to be a really good comeback, right? So I think they are taking their time, they learn their lesson. So let's actually in this episode also, let's skip the Apple Intelligence and Apple's AI parts. I don't believe that they have really good game in it, because when you're comparing it to ChatGPT or even Gemini had like a really good improvement when it comes to AI. Now it's on par with like ChatGPT, right? Google like did a $2,000 subscription, which include Google Cloud, Workspace, Gemini, free premium, Google Photos Plus, and everything. I think it's $200 or $250 per month. So it's like one subscription for all the Google things. So they basically users don't have actually options, right? If you're purchasing ChatGPT Premium, it's ChatGPT Premium only, right? But imagine you're buying Google's this $200 subscription, you have like everything. So this game is really changing now. So since we talked about Gemini, I believe last year Apple, as an additional feature to the Apple Intelligence, they announced that they are integrating ChatGPT as an extension, right? If you have used that feature, you might realize that it has like ChatGPT has a one extension option, right? This year, I believe they will integrate Gemini also. So iPhone and iPads and Apple devices will have Gemini as an extension. I think Apple and Google made a partnership towards integrating Gemini into iPhone. That's also a win-win situation. I believe that will be a really good thing because end users have options now. So it's not only ChatGPT. So you can use Gemini and you can see how they perform and select the one that actually be useful to you, right, Masha? So it's really good Apple being this open to their users, right? So there are some honorable mentions when it comes to iOS and iPadOS, like there are rumors saying redesign phone app with like favorites and speed dials are what do you call synced up to. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any leak screenshots or anything. I think Mark Garman reported this one also. The thing is, since they are already doing a major OS overhaul, I believe they don't have like new things, but I'm pretty interested to see the way Apple do their user interfaces and user experiences, because when it comes to using experiences and user interfaces, Apple is like at a really good level, right? They are like trendsetters, right? They started the whole dynamic island thing, and even Android devices they started to copy it. So that's pretty much it for iOS and iPadOS, Maja. And also, I need to mention one thing I found for iPad also. One of the major concern iPad users, including me, have is like it have so much power, hardware power. It's not utilizing that hardware power because of the software limitations it's having with its own operating system, right? It's if imagine iPad is running macOS, it's capable of running macOS, right? Even MacBooks are having M1 chip and iPads are having M1 chip. So I believe they will try to like what you call close this gap between macOS and iPadOS. I believe I found a rumor that they are saying they're reinventing the multitasking options that iPad offer, and some sort of customization and even some deep OS customization to look iPad more like macOS one. It's really good. It's coming closer together. I'm pretty sure they will not merge those into a one thing, because that way the whole product line of iPad will be, or either MacBook will be useless, right?
Yeah.
So they still need iPads to be manufactured and users can buy it. And at the same time, MacBooks also. As end users, I still love MacBook, but my wife will not love MacBook. She will love the iPad. So yeah. So that's pretty much it for iOS, Machang. iOS and iPad OS. So the next major OSs they have like Mac OS, right? Which me and Kanshka both are really concerned on that we are using it for our daily works and editing and everything. So let's take so Machang. So OS already had like their own names, right? I believe the current version we are having
Sequoia.
is named Sequoia, right?
Sequoia.
15 is like macOS Sequoia. I don't know the name, but I don't know how to pronounce these.
Sequoia.
Yeah, the root on the new version will be called Tahoe.
Tahoe.
Not Taco, it's Tahoe.
Tahoe. Tahoe. It is like a river or a mountain in America.
Yeah, I saw a image. If you're watching this episode in YouTube, I'll put an image of Tahoe in America. So since I'm talking about the way you watch this episode, if you are a fan of Aprender podcast or a person that are listening to our episode for the first time, we are available on every podcasting platform, including Spotify podcast, Apple podcast, Google podcast, which is now naming as YouTube podcast. We are available everywhere, including Pocket Cast also. The thing we do is like we publish our audio episode first on audio podcasting platforms, then we publish our video episode on YouTube. and highlighting clips on LinkedIn and Twitter also. So it's better you subscribe to our YouTube channel to be the first person to see an episode or listen to an episode that we release those. And there are our second channel called Aprender Podcast Clips. You can subscribe to that episode, that YouTube channel, to get highlighted clips of the podcast that we are doing. If you want to reach out to us or like share us some things that or insights that you're thinking would be helpful to our audience to know, or if you are having any topics to discuss, or any if you need like any assistance regarding any tech related questions, just reach us through LinkedIn or Twitter, or just put a comment on our YouTube channel. That way you can reach to us and we might be able to hook you up with some answers or any way we could to guide or assist you guys to macOS now, Macha. So before moving to macOS rumors, so how is your experience with macOS 15, Macha?
Mm,
The last year's operating system.
yeah, I'm good. I don't have any complaints up to now. Like I haven't used Apple Intelligence or anything, but no complaints from my end. Do you have any complaints?
Since you make me remember Apple Intelligence, honestly, I used Apple Intelligence more on Mac than the iPhone, right? It was really good when it comes to like summarizing or rewriting certain documents and everything, but it was really well integrated into the operating system. It was like one click away to summarize or generate certain text and everything. But as I use certain tools, I still believe ChatGPT is easier. I'm not sure this is the way I used to work or this is the way I'm using the tools. So I disabled Apple Intelligence on Mac. The first thing was it's like eating the battery, and the second thing it was like taking like around 4 to 5 GBs of storage from the device. And I didn't saw any potential of it getting improved over the time. So I disabled it and I'm just using ChatGPT and Grok now, which is based on X by Elon Musk. So in this macOS also, we'll skip the Apple Intelligence part. I'm not sure whether we are getting any major things regarding Apple Intelligence this year. Hopefully for the next year, there will be some things that we can talk about. The first thing I want to talk or share the findings regarding the rumors that the name will be Tahoe. It's not a major thing. So macOS will be jumping from 15 to 26 this year. The similar naming scheme that I explained. I believe it will have the same design language as the iOS and all other operating systems, because this year they are planning a full revamp of their operating systems and user interfaces. Other than that, I believe if Apple is releasing a gaming app, it will be available on Mac also. And small thing I want to mention, Majang, are you using Apple's Shortcuts app?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm also using Apple Shortcuts app. So it rumors, Majang, it will have like a really good revamp.
No.
Yeah, it will. The rumor saying that it has some Apple Intelligence parts. I'm not sure about it, but rumor suggests Majang Apple Shortcut is getting a revamp. That will be good. Which will add more capabilities to the iPhone. If you are not aware of what is Apple Shortcuts app is, basically it's allow users to like automate certain things. You can like automate, for example, you can automate or add a button to your app drawer. So once you touch it, I'm explaining a shortcut that I have created. I touch it, it will open my gym playlist and it will open the weight training app that I'm using to keep track of the weight that I do. It's a small automation, but it will not save like 1 hour of my time, but it's really like, it really, what do you call it? Really satisfying.
Convenient.
Yeah, that's the word, convenient. And like give some credits for my morale and mentality because I created that shortcut.
If they're like bringing Apple Intelligence into that, that would be easier. Like for us to set up the shortcut, like we can type the what we want and create it for us. It would be easier to for us to like create more shortcuts. Like because in the inception of creating the shortcut, like it will take like some time for us also to navigate the application and set up the shortcuts and everything else.
Yes, exactly. So as a tech person, I'm really like really interested in the capabilities of Apple that adding to shortcuts app. But if it is a non-tech person, some people will not even open that app, right?
Yeah.
So it will be really good that you can like put like I want imagine a prompt that you are giving to your shortcuts app, like I want to once I start playing my gym playlist, I want to open the timer. So imagine that automation being created inside the Shortcuts app using Apple Intelligence. That will be like really good, right? If you are really into shortcuts and you still want to find out that, just ChatGPT it will show the steps. Other than that, Macha, macOS will not have a major new or like groundbreaking features because this is software based event, so they will not release new hardware which will utilize new software capabilities. The major things we are predicting UI interface and user interface and user experience redesign that Apple will implement to all of the operating systems, and gaming app will be there, and shortcuts app revamp will be also available for on the all the operating systems that they deploy their operating systems into. I believe that's all from the macOS and Macha, right? Did we miss anything or any rumor that we found? Yeah, multitasking improvements also will be similar to the ones that iPad is implementing. Like Stage Manager is now on macOS and iPads also. So I believe those features will be available because the screen real estate is really high. So it makes sense to use multitasking capabilities on Mac and iPad instead of iPhone. It's a really small, since it's a really small display that we have to work with. Yeah, that's pretty much it, right, Maja?
Yeah.
For macOS, right? The thing with watchOS, Maja, I actually don't know the state of current watchOS because I don't have Apple Watch.
Me neither.
So I believe, but still, we did our research regarding this also. So basically, Apple will follow the same user interface revamp into watchOS also. It suggests that I found certain informations like they will be having new AI powered battery management, which we just explained, and even it suggests that they improve some on device Apple intelligence things, which we should ignore for this year. I believe certain accessibility features are coming to the Apple Watch, like live captions in real time conversation transcription, which will be really helpful for like differently able people. Um, Other than that, I don't believe like major what do you call features enabling Apple Watch capabilities to another level. But I believe I saw article Machang that Apple in kind of like a pressure because of Whoop to implement more health metrics and health related stuff to their Apple Watch. I believe there will be some features will be added to Apple like health app, I believe. It rumor suggests that Apple is developing their own subscription for Apple Health.
They should be like focusing on improving the battery life of the Apple. Then Whoop might have some kind of a competition, but still, like they need to be really.
Yeah, yeah, as we explained on the last episode of podcast. If you're not aware of this episode that we are talking about, we'll put a link in the description. In the last episode, we explained our experience and our thoughts, and we explained the features of Whoop, which we are wearing right now. Basically, we are using Whoop 4.0 now. Even after that episode, there was like Whoop 5.0 was released. This is also having like 4 to 5 days of battery life, but the new one is having like 14 days of battery life. Then you only have to charge that device for one time for entire month, but comparing with Apple Watch, you have to charge it like every day, right? So I believe Apple should focus on battery life rather than implementing new security stuff. But I don't know. I'm not a marketing expert, but users might requesting more health related features rather than battery life, right? I believe Apple will implement more health related stuff, which will be centralized on Apple Health app, Machan, because the rumor suggests that they are developing their own health plus subscription, which will like take all your metrics from all the device that you are wearing, and it will assess the things that you have, will show the things that you need to improve. Like basically they are creating their own Whoop app, right? Which will be interesting because they have a really good track record of killing small companies,
Yeah.
right?
Have you used that? Recently, I got a health notification from Apple Health that I can take like a mental awareness kind of a survey, and based on
Uh-huh.
the answers I give, they tell me like what are the things that I should be more focusing on, whether I have depression or insomnia or something like that. And it's really good.
Mm.
It's like recently they release it, and like if they are going to integrate it with their like journal app, they might be able to get some kind of a really good
Yeah.
service out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, the journal app I used to use that, but I should start journaling, but that slipped away from my life actually. But it was really good. I need to use it also because that's the advantage of Apple, right? They have like all the information that we are using and we do with our iPhone. For example, for journaling app, it suggests that the songs that we listen to, even, right? The walks we had on the Apple map and even some pictures we took. So that way you will have like a really, what do you call, memory tap, or if you are not remembering what you did today that you are grateful of, it will remind you, right? So that's a really good integration when it comes to Apple. But interestingly, they enable that API for everyone. So I believe day one is a journaling app that I used before Journals app, because Apple haven't had a journaling app for like last 3 years. Day one implemented that feature. It became basically supercharged journaling app, but Apple really marketed their journaling app with some privacy and stuff. So I switched to journaling app. But to this date, I'm not using even, but I should be. Yeah, so back into the topic. That's pretty much it for watchOS. Apple will not release like really major things, but I believe there will be certain specific Apple Watch or watchOS related stuff based on health or the metrics that they are capturing and adding improvements to. Then let's move to their tvOS, right? tvOS, which I have the experience of using because I had the HomePod. It was really good. It's surprisingly really reliable. Certain features now I don't have my HomePod, but there are certain features that I still miss. Like for example, this is like a really weird thing that I'm using headset in my commute, so I come back to home. I put my headset onto my headphone case, but if I tap my iPhone to my HomePod, it will transfer the song or any audio that I listen at the time that I come to the HomePod. So that will, if imagine I'm listening to a song, I'm not completing that song. So if I just tapping to HomePod, then I can complete that.
Yeah.
So I miss that. I think that's not like making my life super easy or anything, but that's a feature that I miss.
Yeah.
It's really good. And yeah, for a small device, that sounds really good. So yeah, so another thing I want to point out, or a rumor, Apple having their own iOS, actually limited iOS operating system that they customized for their HomePods and tvOS and everything. They name that tvOS, right?
Okay.
Which is basically an iOS version, which is really stricted. I believe this year they will rename their tvOS to HomeOS.
Okay.
The rumor suggesting that because Apple is currently working on a Home Tab, a device which is a hybrid of iPad and HomePod, right? There is a niche or there is a market for this. I believe Google Nest is the name. I'm not sure Google Nest or Google Hub is the name of that device. Basically, a tab. You can like magnet it to your speaker, which act as a speaker, Bluetooth speaker. Also, it's a smart display, so you can use like smart cameras or even YouTube or anything. Imagine you are having it in your kitchen and you are looking at a recipe. That's a easier thing to do. Even you have like Google Assistant at the edge of your table for this. So Apple is working on a device. I believe its name is Home Tab. I'm not sure about the actual name because they might change their name based on their marketing stuff. So because of those rumors, I believe the team tvOS name is not kind of appropriate for this range of product, right? So HomePod is having tvOS. Now Home Tab is having tvOS is not good. So I believe they rebrand their tvOS to HomeOS. So that way they can like implement new hardware stuff to their home OS, right? So home OS, I believe, which will also get the same redesign they are planning on iOS and Apple Basic OS 26 versions. Other than that, there will be no any major things or features added to the tvOS, but of course, they will add some accessibility features or some, but I was not able to find any information regarding the tvOS actually. Now to the part that I want to explain or mention that previously I stated for AirPods they are having like new features. Like I believe a really good feature that will enable in AirPods will be camera control. A rumor suggests that AirPods will be able to control your camera the same way that Apple Watch is allowed to control camera of your iPhone, right? So if you need to take a group photo, you can put your camera away and use your Apple Watch to take the photo, right?
Okay.
Now imagine you are wearing AirPod and if you which is not something that you need, but again, it will come handy,
You
right?
know, like there are like millions of people doing TikToks, yeah? And they are wearing their AirPods all the time and doing TikToks are probably like it's going to be like a really useful feature for them.
Content creators, right? Yeah, yeah. That, I haven't thought about it that way, but now it makes sense. But I believe the features they are developing is really interesting, whether it's Apple or Google or anyone. Most of those features are based on user feedback, right?
Yeah.
These features might not be a real value to you, but it will be a valuable thing for some people, right? So another thing that I need to explain, I believe Apple this time will implement their intelligence or Apple intelligence features into Xcode, which is a developer ID tool that they're using, which will like generate code or review code or even bug fix using Apple intelligence, which will be a really good thing for the developers. Other than that, Machan, this is pretty much it we want to cover. Out from these rumors, Machan, what is or what are you more looked into or looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the user interface revamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you showed me back in when they released this action item button, and you showed me how the transition happens, and that's when you told me like there's gonna be a revamp throughout the whole OS, and it's going to be something like this, and coming from the Vision OS, and that transition and redesign revamp is kind of really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm not sure like how good it is going to be like utilized in our models, even the Mac devices as well. I'm not sure, but still like I'm looking forward to it. And I think like there might be some hardware related optimizations also, like integrations also coming with the new iPhone and new devices.
Yeah, yeah. I'm also looking forward to the user interface redesign because honestly, we don't need it, but it's something good to have because currently it seems like as Apple fan, currently their operating systems and everything looks like bit apart from all others. So this way, it will get back on track to the reputation that Apple proceed with their own hardware and software, right? So yeah, Maja, these are the things, these are the rumors that are pointing to be announced or released in next Monday, the 9th of June, right? 9th of June, WWDC. The fun thing that we do in Aprender podcast is like we do this episode every year before WWDC. We share our predictions, and once the event is happening or event is completed, we do like a follow up podcast if there are certain things that made us surprised, right? Yeah. Hopefully, yes. Last year we didn't had any episodes, so which means we nailed our predictions, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we are even hoping to have another episode regarding WWDC. Like we want something new from Apple this time because there's so much innovation is happening in the industry and in not only in hardware, even in the software also. This is a really interesting time to be alive. Actually, OpenAI is like conquering the AI world and which made lot of companies to chase AI, and now it's really good for end customers like us. So yeah, these are the things that we needed to discuss today, right, Machan?
Yep.
So yeah, again, if you are watching this episode or listening to this episode on YouTube, please subscribe, share this with your friends and families and everyone else you see to support us, which means a lot to us. And if you want anything to be discussed or our opinions on, please don't hesitate to put a comment in our YouTube or even reach to us on LinkedIn. We prefer LinkedIn. You can reach us on Twitter, now known as X. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this week's episode. Hopefully, let's meet on another episode in coming weeks. Yeah, right, Macha?
Yep.
So, Jaya.
There you go.